Hi guys, today we are going to be playing with something very fun, and it's from a brand that I've been kind of wanting to come out with a palette again for a very long time, and this is from Makeupamurder. Some of you might be unfamiliar with this brand, but I would highly recommend you guys go check out their website. They have some really cool stuff on there, and like I said, they came out with a new palette. They also sent me a pair of lashes here, so I'll show you the lashes. These are absolutely insane. So these are the 7.5 lashes, and here's what they look like. I'm not cool enough for these lashes, so I will not be using these in this video, and I'll probably give those away to someone else because those are insane. But I'm still very excited about the palette. So like I said, if you're unfamiliar with the brand, they basically take inspiration from like crime scenes and stuff like that, and I think that's personally very cool. I know some people don't like it, but that's totally fine. This brand isn't for everyone, but it's definitely for me. So they came out with the burner phone palette. I will show you what this palette looks like. So it comes in a really cool box that you kind of slide open like this, kind of like if you buy a new iPhone, it comes in like the same kind of case with the same kind of packaging. And then inside you have the palette here. I will show you the outside of the palette. So it kind of looks like it's big, but it's not really that big. And for like being a, how would I say this, like a thing inspired palette that's like shaped as a thing, it's really not like bulky or anything like that. It's pretty flat, and the way that it opens is it kind of just like flips over like a flip phone, which is also really cool. And inside you can see it's like, you know, the keypads on a phone, and the names are really funny. I don't know what all of these mean. I feel like I should know all of them. We'll see what I end up using, and if I know the ones that I end up using. I know most of them, they're all just like abbreviations. Is that how you say that? English. Not my thing, but they're like, you know, short letters like TTYL, like talk to you later kind of thing. I don't even know if that was one of them. Yeah, there it is. That's funny. I do have an affiliate code with Makeupamurder. It's just Annette, and it will save you 10% off, but I do highly stand behind all of their products. I have a ton of stuff from them. I have all of their pigments, which I'm just not really a pigment kind of person, but they're super cool, and they really add something extra to your looks if you're like someone who really likes to work with pigments. Their neon and their pastel pigments are amazing. I also have all of their, is it all of their palettes? I have 3 of their palettes anyway, and these are all really nice. I can show them to you if you haven't seen them already. This is the Partner in Crime palette. This was the latest palette that they came out with last year around the same time. This was their Valentine's palette. I've used this in quite a few videos, and I think this is a really nice palette. I also have their crime scene palettes. So this is the volume 1. This is the Paint Chips palette, which is basically a rainbow all matte palette. Is it all matte? Yeah, I think this is all matte. This is really nice. I haven't had enough of a chance to like use this a ton, but for what I have used in this, I really enjoyed it. So far I really like the quality, like I said, of all the things that I've tried from Makeupamurder. I also have their neutral palette here, which is probably my favorite neutral palette in my collection, and if it looks like this hasn't been used, it's because it hasn't. Because the first one that I got came shattered, and I used that one for a video, and I used that one a few times, and then they ended up sending me a new one, so I haven't touched the new one yet, but this is a really nice quality palette, and the shimmers in this are beautiful. So very excited to have all of these palettes, even though, you know, I don't really get a ton of use out of like everything in my collection because my collection is so big, but that's just life of being a YouTuber. So today we're gonna be testing out this palette, and like I said, very excited. I think the color story in this is super cute, and I have high expectations because their formula is really nice. So we're just gonna go ahead and get into it. Going to start by priming with my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base, and while I do that, I will show you some swatches of this palette. So I will say with the swatches, they didn't swatch the absolute best. The matte formula seemed a little bit on the dry side, so I'm expecting to have to work with these sort of like their pressed pigments and not like do too much blending and stuff and too much building, because they didn't feel like they had a ton of binder in them. So I'm not going to be building shadows on top of each other. I'm probably just going to layer them next to each other just so I don't get any kind of patchiness or anything like that. I could be wrong though, but just from swatching it, that's kind of like how the formula felt, because it was, like I said, very dry and it didn't need a lot of building up, especially the mattes. The shimmer seemed really nice, but the mattes definitely seemed like something that you want to be a little bit careful with, so that's what I'm going to do. So let's just kind of play with a lot of these shadows. I sort of have a bit of a plan of what I want to do, so I'm going to start with this neon yellow because it looked really cool when I swatched it. Like I said, dry formula, it seemed like a pressed neon pigment, which again, I've used those before in videos, and you really have to be careful to not like over blend them. So I'm just going to pack this in my inner corner. I made sure that I already primed this area, and I'm just going to put this down where it is that I want it to be and kind of just leave it alone. And this is going to be my inner corner shade. I might layer like a highlighter or something over the top of it, but we'll see what it looks like when the look is all done. So this is obviously very bright. And I really like when brands include, you know, neon mattes in palettes like this without it being like a full neon palette. I think it just adds something a little bit extra to the palette. And as long as you know how to work with these kind of formulas, it just makes it really, really fun. So I think that looks really nice. So what I have in mind for the rest of the look is, like I said, I want to play with a lot of shades. So I'm going to take this green in the front portion of my crease as well as underneath my eye. I think I'm going to move into this teal and then try to deepen that up with the purple. I think that could be like a nice little gradient going on. So we're going to start with this green, which is called ILY, which means I love you. I knew that one. Let's see, what was the first one? Oh, LMAO. Everybody knows that one. That needs no explanation whatsoever. So I'm gonna start packing this in the front portion of my crease here, and we'll see how this is going to lay down. This is a beautiful shade of green. I love greens like this. They just make me so happy. Like, this is a happy green for me. Is that a thing? Is there such a thing as a happy green? I don't know, but this green makes me happy. So in my mind, this is a very, very happy green, and it's very nice and bright. Just taking this to about 2/3 of the way out or so, I want to say, and then obviously the teal will be blended into that one and kind of pulled back over again. So I just want to make sure that I have enough of this on my eye that I can still see plenty of it, and I'm just gonna blend the edges ever so slightly here. Gonna do the same thing underneath my eye here, just so it looks the same on the top and the bottom. This formula definitely could warrant from having an eyeshadow primer underneath your eye as well, which I don't usually do that unless I have to. So in my first impression, I will never prime underneath my eye if I haven't tried the formula before, because I want to see like how it differs. So like I was saying in the beginning, quite a dry formula. It doesn't stick very nicely to like unprimed skin, but if you do put it on top of something sticky, it's going to perform a little bit better, but it's still showing up. I just don't know like what the longevity of this is going to be because it is quite dry. So let's see. I'm gonna go into the teal shade now, which is called STFU, which shut up, we all know that one, I'm sure. So I'm gonna grab this one on the same brush, which is my Rephr number 13, and I'm gonna start just packing this in the outer portion here. I was kind of hoping this would be a little bit darker. I feel like these shades are all showing up a little bit lighter on my eye than they are in the pan, which is just an observation. It's a beautiful color though. That is really, really fun. And I'm super curious to see how that purple is going to layer on top of that. It might turn into a bit of a disaster, but we'll see when that time comes. I'm gonna take this under my eye as well here and just gonna connect that to the green. Blends out beautifully though, I will give it that. That looks really, really nice. Just gonna do the same thing on the other eye. So let's go ahead and try out the purple now. This one is called LMK, which is obviously Let Me Know. There's a few in here that I don't know. This other purple here is called HMU, which I can't really think of what that would stand for. And there's also one here called FRFR, which I don't know that one either, but I think I know all of the other ones. So we're gonna go ahead and try this purple, and I'm going to, again, take this on the same brush because that's what I do. I use one brush. And I'm just starting by packing it on the outer corner of my eye, and we're gonna see if this layers. I have a feeling it's not going to layer just because of the formula. Like I was saying, it's a very dry formula. Like you can see, it's not really sticking to like where I put down that teal shade, which I sort of expected that, which is a bit of a shame because it does make this palette not that versatile in the way that you have to use it. So if you're gonna use this shade, definitely go in with it first because it is not layering at all and not doing what I wanted to do here, which kind of sucks. I'm just gonna pack this on until I'm happy with how it's looking, and I'm just going to leave it alone, and hopefully it's going to stay that way, but it's taking a long time to like really build this up and get it to stay on my eye and not just dust away. And I'm having quite a bit of fallout with this as well. This is not looking very good. That makes me kind of sad, honestly. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that this just does not want to layer. If you're someone who likes your shadows to be layerable, you're not going to like this because these shadows are not layering very nicely at all. Let me see if I can pull in a different purple to kind of save this because I don't really have anything that I can like layer over the top of it in this palette, in this color, that's going to make this come together. So let me see what I can find that's going to kind of help this out a little bit because this is this is a train wreck. So I'm gonna take my P. Louise palette here and I'm going to take the shade called First Class, which is pretty much the same color, and I'm gonna try to do exactly what I wanted to do with the first color in the Makeupamurder palette with this one. Hopefully that is going to work out a little bit, but I need to make room on my desk for this palette because it's so big. I'm always like reorganizing everything, making sure that I have like somewhere to put this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and see that layers so much better. Yeah, the purple in this palette is just so good. So this is not looking the best. I don't know what is going on here, but this shadow doesn't really want to layer over that blue that much. Like, I have had no problems working with this purple in the P. Louise palette. I don't know if it's because I'm layering it over a different formula and that's why it just doesn't want to do what I wanted to do. But I'm not really happy with how this is looking. And I also have quite a bit of fallout here with that purple, but I'm not worried about that dusting away because it's not sticking to my eyes, so it's not going to stick to my face. So let's see, how do I want to fix this? Maybe I'll go in with a little bit more of that blue instead, or the teal, I should say. Let me try to just kind of pack that over the top here. Like, do you see what is happening underneath my eye here? Like, the color is just, it's not sticking and it's basically just like dusting away. So I take back what I said about liking these shadows so far because they are not doing what I want them to do. And I'm a little bit like, now what? Now what do I do? I really don't want to start over. I really don't want to take this off and start over. Like, I just don't want to have to do that. I'm just going to kind of work on this for a little bit and see if I'm able to fix it somehow. Let's just try to go in with some shimmers and I will worry about the mattes and all of that after because right now this is not looking very good. So I'm going to take some of my NYX glitter primer. Just going to put that all over my lid, and I feel like as soon as I see like what everything looks like with the shimmers, it'll be a little bit easier to see what it is that I need to fix after, because right now it's just everything is just kind of looking kind of patchy. So we're just going to do the shimmers first and see what happens. So I think for the inner portion I'm going to use the green shimmer, which is called WTF. Just gonna put that in the front portion of my lid here before my glitter primer dries, and then on the outer portion I think I'm gonna use the teal shimmer, which looks beautiful. So I'm gonna take the shade called FR, which is the teal shimmer, and I'm just gonna take that on the other side of my brush here, and I'm gonna put that basically on the rest of my lid. I might even just layer it all the way over that purple and just kind of cover it up, and maybe I'll find a different purple shimmer like to put on the very outer corner. I'm not really sure, but I need to do something about this outer corner because it is not looking good. So I'm really just like packing on these shimmers and trying to cover up all of my mistakes here. The shimmers are nice though, I will say. I have nothing to say against the shimmers. They're very nice shimmers. So I'm just gonna kind of grab from what's in front of me here. I have all of my Shine by SD shadows, and I think I'm gonna take this shade here, which is called, what are you? Lilac Blue, and I'm just gonna put some of that on the outer corner of my eye because I need something to just fix this. I'm gonna spray this a little bit because I don't have any glitter primer out there and I don't feel like putting anything on. So I'm just gonna go ahead and basically layer that over where I put down that matte. And maybe I'll do some kind of a graphic liner or something in the outer corner just to cover up some of these mattes because it is looking quite rough, I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually gonna take this shimmer underneath my eye as well, just on the outer corner, because the mattes down there just aren't sticking. So basically my whole outer corner where I put down the mattes are just going to be covered in this because I need to do something here. I don't usually like having shimmers like all the way up into my crease, but sometimes to fix stuff, the best way to do it is just throw a shimmer over the top, especially if your mattes are causing you trouble. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it like this. I'm gonna finish off, I'm gonna fix whatever I need to fix here, and then I'll come back and I will show you the look. Wish me luck trying to save this, because I feel like I'm gonna need it. If you're wondering what happened, so am I, but this is a final look, and it took me quite some time to get to this point, but I think I saved it, and I think I'm happy with how it's looking. But trust me, that was a rough process and it probably took me like 30 minutes. Not that I wasn't like on my phone, you know, half of that time, but still, here we are. Let me tell you what I did to finish off. So I used some of my black gel liner from Lethal and I did a huge wing, and then I kind of went back and forth over it with some shadows to make sure that it was like sort of blended into my crease, and I think it looks okay. I used some yellow from Lethal in my waterline. This one is in the shade Stereo. And then for my highlighter, I used Electric from Bitter Lace Beauty. I love this, and I went kind of crazy. I also put some in my inner corner because I wanted to take attention away from the boo-boos that were going on, but I think I was able to cover them up. I mean, the underneath my eye here is just not looking good because the shadow is just not really sticking, but it is what it is. For my lips, I used a lipstick from MAC, and this is in the shade Merh. I think that's how you say that, M-E-H-R. Not really sure, but I love this lipstick. And then on top, I put a gloss from Kaleidos, and this is in the shade Fantasize. So this is where we're at. That is going to be the end of the look, and obviously, I mean, you probably know how I feel about this palette now, and I gotta be honest, and it hurts me because I love this brand so much, but I don't think this palette is worth $39 or $38, whatever the price is. I mean, I struggle to use this, and I think it just depends on how you work with eyeshadows. If you like shadows to be on the buildable side, this is not it. Like, these are not going to be buildable. These are going to be best used, like, pretty much on their own or just like gently blended into each other. But if you're going to use any shade to like deepen something up, I don't know if any of these other shades are going to be buildable either, because like I said, when I swatched them, they did not feel like a very buildable formula. They basically felt like, they almost felt like swatching loose pigments, which is not my favorite to work with, you know, as a full eyeshadow look. Like those kind of colors, like this kind of formula is best used for me as like an accent, like, you know, like in my inner corner or just like packed onto my lid or something like that. But to create like a full look, it's very hard to use a formula like this because it just doesn't behave very well with other shadows. Like I said, I've obviously not used this whole palette. I don't know if this whole palette is like that, but I don't know. I just have kind of a feeling in the back of my head that a lot of these shadows are going to be the same formula. So I'm not really the biggest fan. Like I said, it kind of hurts me to say because I love this brand. I love their aesthetic. I really wanted to love this palette because it's so cute. I think the color story is really, really nice, but I just didn't have the best time using it. And if I have a bad experience with the palette, I probably will not reach for it again. I'm not one of those people with my big collection who's going to try to make something work if I have something that already works. Like I'm over like putting in time trying to get things to do what I want them to do if I can just use something that I know works. So that's basically gonna be my thoughts. I'm probably not going to do more looks with this, unfortunately. I was planning on doing a 3-look video with this, but honestly, I don't really want to use this again because I don't want to have to struggle anymore, and I don't want to have to spend 30 minutes like trying to fix my look after. So that's just where I'm at. So I hope you guys appreciate an honest review. I do kind of feel a little bit bad about making this review because, like I was saying, I really love the brand, but sometimes that's just how it goes. Sometimes products just aren't as good as you want them to be, and that was just the case today. So that's gonna be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you want to see something else, here's another video that I think you will enjoy. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.